Welcome everyone. This week is Parshas Teruma, and we read the mitzvah of everyone giving donations to the Beis Hamikdash, as we mentioned last week. Daber b'nei Yisrael v'yikhuli truma me'eis kol ish asher yidvenu libo tichu es trumasi. Every single person has to give donations to the Beis Hamikdash. Some were optional, some were absolutely obligations, and that is part of this mitzvah of Hakamas HaMishkan v'yikhuli truma. If you take a look, though, in Parshas Vayakel, Perek Lamed Hey Pasuk Chav Zayin, so there's a very famous Rashi. Rashi on the Pasuk V'Hanesiim. The Nesiim were also involved in donations to build the Beis Hamikdash, to build the Mishkan, and the Nesiim Heviu Es Avnei HaShoam Ve'es Avnei HaMiluim. So they only brought as the stones for the big day kahuna. What about other participation that the Nesiim did, or should have done? And Rashi makes the following point. Rashi writes that when it came to the Chanukas HaMizbeach, when they inaugurated the Mizbeach, the Nesiim were there front and center. However, when it comes to Meleches HaMishkan, what we're speaking about in our parsha, Rashi writes, Lo hitznadvu b'ktchila. They did not give donations right away. Ela kachamar hanesiim. The Nesiim, the princes of every shevet, they said as follows, Yitnadvu hatzibur. Let the community give their donations first. Uma shemechasrim. And whatever's missing, anu mashlimim also. Let everyone donate what they donate, and then whatever the shortfall is, that will pick up. And what ended up happening, of course, is the Torah tells us in our parsha, that everyone donated enough. This is what the pasuk says in Vayakel. There was enough. So the Nesiim were left with nothing to give, and therefore they said, Ma'alein lasos, what's left for us? And they were stuck with the Avnei Shoham, the Avnei Miluim, for the big day kahuna, but that was it, and therefore they learned their lesson when it comes to Chanukas HaMizbeach. And Rashi points out that that's why in this week's pasuk, the word when they're named in the pasuk, it says Vaha Nisiim, but Chaser Yud. There's a missing Yud. And therefore, instead of writing Ha Nisiim, the princes, it says Ha Nosim. We read it Nisiim, but it's really written Nosim, meaning they were not carrying the Jewish people, they were being carried by the Jewish people. And that is a very famous Rashi. So let's think about this from a fundraiser's perspective. From a fundraiser's perspective, someone says to you, listen, I want you to collect from all of your alumni, all of your former students, current students, all your alumni collect. You have a $400,000 scholarship budget, collect from everyone, and then whatever your shortfall is, if you bring in $200,000, I got the rest covered. If you bring in $100,000, I got it covered. If you bring in $350,000, I got the rest covered. So that's a fundraiser's dream. What could be that? And that's what the Nesiim did. And the Torah chastises them. Chazal say, no, they didn't do the right thing. This was the wrong thing for them to do. Why? Because when it comes to tzedakah, and when it comes to building a Mishkan, the goal is not, whatever is left, I'll do. You want to be a proactive part of the process. You want to be involved from the very beginning. A Baal Tzedakah is looking not to wait and see, but rather to be actively involved. And they made a mistake. The pasuk in our parsha says, V'yikhuli truma me'eis kol ish. Everyone's supposed to get involved, not wait and let's see what happens. But everyone plays a very, very proactive role. So on the one hand, while it might be a fundraiser's dream, and fiscally for an institution amazing, it's not the Torah Hashkafa. Tzedakah is a mitzvah that we proactively seek. And in fact, this would explain very well the famous drasha, V'yikhuli truma. What do you mean? V'yikhu, I shall take truma? No, I'm giving truma. I, the Yisrael, am giving over. But the Torah uses the verb vayikhu, that I will be taking. And that's the message over here, is that when it comes to mitzvah tzedakah, we assume the person knocking on our door, the person asking for money, he's the taker, I'm the giver. And the lesson of this Parshas Teruma, the lesson of the Nesiim is absolutely not. When you give tzedakah, you actually are receiving. You're receiving zechuyos, you're receiving mitzvos, you're receiving so much. The ani gives the ashir, perhaps even more than the ashir gives the ani. That's the famous idea that the word nasan is a palindrome. It's read both ways. By me giving, I also receive, I also take. There's a famous story that's told over that the Chafetz Chaim was raising money for his yeshiva in Radin, and the Gvir said, listen, I will cover you. I will cover the entire year's budget. And the Chafetz Chaim says, thank you so much, but I'm not interested. I'd much rather have $18 donations from the masses than one donation from one gvir, one wealthy person. Why? Because the Chafetz Chaim understood that he wants everyone, vayikhu truma, everyone should have a chelek in the midst of tzedakah, in the learning that's going on in the yeshiva, and therefore it wasn't just about his fiscal needs, but rather how he could give, by receiving, how he could give to Klal Yisrael. A colleague of mine was once on a trip recruiting, and he noticed some people from his neighborhood that were also on a trip, and they were collecting money, and they were in a certain neighborhood. I won't mention which neighborhood. It wasn't a very wealthy neighborhood, and we'll call it neighborhood X. And so my colleague asked these collectors, why are you going to this neighborhood? There's so many wealthier Jewish neighborhoods. You should go to that neighborhood and that neighborhood. You'll do much better, much more efficient use of your time. So the response was, of course we were in those neighborhoods. We were in those neighborhoods too, but Ratzinu lezakot gam et Shchuna X. We also wanted to privilege the people in Shchuna X. We also wanted to give them the opportunity to give. So that's a little tongue-in-cheek, but the message is really true, is that when a person gives, he's really getting so much to become a giver, and that's perhaps the message of our parsha, Vayikhu li Teruma.